Hello and welcome back to another reading vlog. This week, or the next week and a bit, I will be reading two books that I've already started and spoke about before. The first is Slewfoot, which is written by Brom. Came out in 2021. Brom is a dark fantasy artist and he does a lot of novels, comic books, movies, and games even. The book takes place in Connecticut in 1666 and the main character is Slewfoot as well as Agatha. She is a widow. Her husband dies very early on in the book. She's very strong, independent woman basically for the time, and that's very much not cool with the Puritan society. When people in the town start to die, they kind of, I haven't gotten to this part yet, but from what I gather, they start pointing fingers and are like, she's a witch. So far, I've met Agatha, I've met Slewfoot, and it's very interesting. I'm really enjoying it. It's so cool to be in like 1666 America. That's not really anything I've ever read about before. So I'm really loving that aspect and learning about Puritans. Again, not something I've ever really dove into. So far loving it, and I'm about 25% of the way through. And the second book is Middle Game, and I am 34% of the way through. And the author is Shanann Maguire. It came out in 2019, and it is the first book in a series of at least 3 books. The most recent one came out this year. It is an urban fantasy, has 2 main characters, Roger and Dodger. They're twins, but they've been separated at birth. They're able to talk to each other telepathically, and then it starts with them being young, and where I'm at in the book, they're in college, and throughout parts of their life, they've kind of met in person and communicated telepathically, but then it stopped. It's a really complicated relationship for them. And then Reed is another character that we get his POV. He is an alchemist of some sort. Roger and Dodger are his creations that he created with the sole intention of having them basically lead him. I think it's called like the Impossible City or the Impossible Road. And that is where he can acquire kind of what he needs to become a god. So he is, you know, like the villain, or at least right now he's being painted as a villain. That aspect of the story I am like a little more hazy on, but the Roger and Dodger stuff is really fun to read. It's due in 9 days, so I need to get my stuff together and finish it. But I do have that Book Nook that Matt got me, so I plan on getting started with that this week, and that will take up a lot of time with my audiobook. That's the game plan for this video, is to finish both of those books. I'm enjoying both of them tremendously, so it's really exciting to have 2 stories that I'm just super thrilled about and like wanting to pick up. I don't have a ton planned for this week, honestly, which is great because it has been really busy. Like all week I was super busy with all the family stuff going on. So it will be really nice to have like a chill, relaxing week instead. I'm looking forward to that a lot. For tonight, I plan on, it's like 9 o'clock on Monday evening, but we had a holiday today. So I was just at my parents' house. I'm going to basically get ready for bed, watch at least an episode or 2 of, oh my gosh, what's it called? I think it's called like Popstar Academy Cat Eye. It is so much fun. And then I plan on maybe reading a little bit of Slewfoot before I go to bed. But yeah, welcome to the vlog and let's have a good week. Okay, so I'm watching this show, Popstar Academy Cat's Eye. It is so good. It's basically the creation of a female pop group, and it's like international. So they're going for the K-pop style of training and development, but for an international group. So there's young girls from like all over the world. Super fascinating, super interesting. Oh, you can see my hand. I'm like I can't do puppets. It's awesome. Hello, it is Tuesday evening. I finished up work and I'm ready to relax for the day. So is Freya. Hey Freya, you ready to relax? But tonight I thought I would start working on my Book Nook. So my goal for today is to get most of the books done. I think there might be 70. So I don't know if I'll accomplish all of that, but we'll see how far I get into the beginning of this. Oh, and I have one more episode of Popstar Academy. I already know who makes the band, and honestly, I kind of hate the show, but I just need to finish it. Okay guys, are you ready for all the hard work that 2 hours got me? Yeah, it's these 3 stacks of books. And I have about 14 total books. So basically a stack that looks just like this. I have that. So that's 2 hours of work right here. And this is a Sharpie. Oh, I have so much glue on my hands too. Anyways, I've been working on that for a while and I'm exhausted. If you are in need of something to put you to sleep, that sort of tedious work will do it. I'm so tired now. It's only 8:30. I finished Popstar Academy. Yesterday, I was like super for it, couldn't stop watching. Today, I don't like it, don't recommend. They did those girls dirty because they were like, oh, it's a show creating a girl group, but they don't tell them that they're going to be in a competition show like American Idol. So they train and bust their ass for a year only to be put into a competition show. So I listened to about an hour of Middle Game today while I was driving. Not a lot has progressed. They're working, sorry, I'm cleaning up after myself. They're working on their relationship and figuring that out, which is kind of what they've always been doing, just at different stages of their life and in different ways. So right now, I feel like the book has hit a bit of the lull, but I think it's like kind of like that was Act 1 and now we're about to kind of work our way up to Act 2. It does flash forward and it has been throughout like the entirety of the book. I'm sorry, Freya's throwing a bit of a tantrum if you can hear her. So you know like stuff goes down and they are put in an intense situation, like almost like a battle or something. I don't think I'm building up to that yet because I'm only 1/3 of the way through, but I think we're maybe building up to almost like the you know when they do like their training montage, like maybe that's where we're leading towards, because they both have a sense that like of almost like deja vu of like they know things but they don't know how or why they know it, but they're certain that they do and that they're right, which they are. And like as the reader we know that, but they don't. So now I think maybe they're going to discover something, and like they're trying to get to like the impossible city or the improbable road or whatever the heck it's called. So I don't know, maybe we're getting there, and I hope we are soon, because right now I'm kind of like, okay, you know, college life is cool, but I need something to start going. So that's where I'm at with that right now. I didn't end up reading any Slewfoot yesterday. Mostly that TV show got me, and it was all for naught because I don't like it. That's all I really have today. Also, peep the cute shirt. It says books and coffee. It's how I live my life. Check out my progress. I've come a long way from doing just, you know, books. So I have to put on, I'll have to do a couple things in here before I can put on the wall and the roof. But I have made it to the last set of pages, or like the literal last 2 pages, but it is currently 11:18 p.m. and I have been listening to Middle Game and working on this for 7.5 hours today. I feel a little bit like I'm losing my mind. I've been having a great time, like low-key time in my life, but I'm going a little crazy, I think. Middle Game's great. So much is happening. I do feel it's slow and long, but that's not necessarily bad. If I didn't, like, I'm into it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, like, why did it take so long to get here? Like, they were in college for 5 hours, and them in college, like, one thing happens at the end. So it's super slow. I'm enjoying it. I still love Roger and Dodger. The whole story of why they exist and what they were made to do is like unfolding. The payoff is there and I do enjoy it and I would recommend it, but I think I would put like a bit of an asterisk being like, it's long and slow. At the same time, I'm like, I don't know what you could have cut. So it's just the way that the story is told is meant to be like slow, you know, like meant to be savored. The story is well written. The narrator is great. I am listening to it on audiobook. Reading it might be a different experience in the sense that it might go quicker because obviously we all read faster than the narrator. I do have it at 1.25, so maybe I could like speed it up and it wouldn't feel like as slow. Anywho, great day, like such a bookish day. Tomorrow is Friday. I don't have a ton on the books, but I think it'll be kind of like a me and Matt type day. I know we have some errands to run and maybe we'll watch stuff. So all to say, I probably won't get a ton of reading done tomorrow. I would say I ended up putting about 10 hours into this thing. I'm doing a quick update. It is Sunday afternoon. No, Sunday evening. It's dark out. And yesterday, I had an epic rotting day. So I started the day off with sprints. I did like 5 hours. It was awesome. Lots of fun. And I had like blocked my whole day off so that all I had to do was read. My goal was to finish a book in one day, like start to finish the book. I ended up choosing The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie, and I did finish it. I think I rated it like 4 stars. It was fun. I enjoyed it. What I thought was most interesting about this book is how like timeless this writing was. This book was published in 1936, and honestly, like, yeah, a few words and like the vernacular were different, but beyond that, you would have thought this was written today, or I personally did. Like, it would blow my mind sometimes where I'd be like, oh my gosh, this was written, what, like 80, 90 years ago? This book is in the Hercule Poirot mysteries series. She has like, I think like 18 books or something with this one character. So kind of, and I don't want to be rude in like comparing them, but like almost like a Sherlock Holmes type thing. So yeah, like if you look here, this is all Hercule Poirot. Oh god. This is all Hercule Poirot, and then all of this as well. He gets around, this boy, but he was funny, and obviously, like, so this is like the 13th or something like that with this one character, and it's very clear, like, he has banter, he has friends, like, obviously there were things about this character that probably were going over my head that have been established in the books prior to it, but it is totally, like, fine to read standalone. I had a ton of fun reading this. It was so nice to, you know, start to finish a book in one day. I haven't done that in years. I also was able to finish a volume of Spy X Family. It was volume number 4. I was about 50% of the way through. And then I also read a little bit more of Slewfoot. And I currently have 3 hours left of Middle Game. So bad at remembering names. Plan on finishing that off while crocheting, while cross stitching, or maybe playing like a cozy game or something. Definitely I need something to keep my hands busy, but I also want to finish it before like my drive into work and everything. Like I want to finish it before then. So that's the game plan. But yeah, I thought I would just give a bit of a reading update. I also made I made cupcakes yesterday. Those were delish. Overall, it was a really great, relaxing weekend with lots of reading and chilling. I feel very refreshed and like I'm capable of entering society again. Hi, Frey. Yeah, it was much needed to just chill and do nothing but read yesterday. And I will update you when I finish middle game. Good morning. I've got my coffee. I'm working. And I hope after the workday is over to finish middle game. I got the dreaded notice that my book is due soon, so I need to get this done. So that's my goal for today. And it says I should do it in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Afternoon. I owe you guys quite the reading update. It is now Friday afternoon. I finished middle game on Sunday and haven't really picked up my camera since, but I have been reading. So middle game, I ended up rating it 4.25, but with like more time to reflect, and I ended up reading some comments on Goodreads and Reddit about the book because I felt like I was left a little confused and kind of wanting more. And at the time, I wasn't too bothered because I knew that there was a second book and this series is at least a trilogy. So then I went, okay, well, what is in store for me in the second book with Roger and Dodger? Because while I felt like the book did kind of wrap up their story, I was like, okay, well, it happened so fast. I'm not done. And that's one gripe I kind of have upon reflection with the book is the pacing. To circle back to the sequel, turns out Roger and Dodger appear in it, but almost like as like a cameo. And the second book, I think, has to do with a second pair of whatever they're called, constructs or whatever. So that kind of bummed me out, and I don't know that I'm going to read it, honestly. The best part about the book was Roger and Dodger for me, not necessarily the world that was created. I had so much fun, and I loved the characters. And to circle back now to the pacing, I felt the book was fairly slow, but not boring. It was just a slow-paced book, which is fine, not my preference, but it worked out fine, and I had a lot of fun reading the book. But I hate when books draw everything out, get you used to this pace, and then the finale is boom, 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 here's what happened, okay, book is done, bye. So that's kind of how it felt to me at the end. 4.25, and I feel it's generous, but I'm not going to change it. That was my initial feeling at the end of the book, and I'm not going to change it after kind of being swayed by online opinion and then also further reflection. Overall, it was great, but not a series I'm going to continue. And then Slewfoot, I've gotten to the halfway mark of Slewfoot. I'm really enjoying it. Agatha is such a fun character. It's super interesting to be in that time period, but also super frustrating just because of like the patriarchy. In particular, one character, I just feel rage and violence towards him. But then there's also other great characters in the community that make it seem a little less lonely and dark for Agatha. And then Slewfoot and kind of his three little companions, I kind of love them. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like change my opinion as I continue reading, but for right now, they're awesome and I'm having fun. I don't find it spooky in any like way, shape, or form, but I do think that the author is quite talented in creating an ambiance and setting the scene really well while not making it overly descriptive. So I think that's like quite the talent. And then since I finished my audiobook, which was middle game, I started Velvet Was the Night, and I ended up getting 16% yesterday, which is when I started it. That book was written by Silvia Moreno Garcia. It is set in Mexico City, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it's set in Mexico City in the early 1970s, and it's coined as a historical thriller. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't read a ton of books that are set in Mexico as a whole in the country. And the 70s also, like a lot of the historical fiction that I read is set kind of around World War I or World War II. So this is really interesting for the time period as well as the location, just to kind of learn a bit more. The characters are interesting so far, even though I haven't gotten to the main kind of plot point, I guess, because so basically I didn't know this. I just put it on my TBR because someone obviously on TikTok or YouTube mentioned really liking it. So I just had it on my Libby kind of thing, and it finally became available. So I was like, okay, cool, I need a new book. This works out. So I had no idea what the heck I was getting myself into. And basically what happens is the two main characters that we read from their perspective is Meta. I think that's how you say it. I'll correct myself later if that is wrong. And she's just like a secretary. She's got a pretty kind of dull life. Just kind of like a forgotten person, I feel. She's lonely. She doesn't have a lot beyond. She goes to work and she has these romance comics, which I can relate to that. And then we have Elvis, who kind of works for like a gang, or like organized crime. I wouldn't say it's a gang, I guess. He works with this organization and they are trying to disrupt the communists from taking over. Then Meta, she agrees to cat sit for her neighbor, and then her neighbor will go missing. So I haven't gotten to that part, but basically everything else I've learned. And even though I haven't gotten to the big meat and bones of the book, I'm into it. It's interesting. It's well paced so far. The writing style is just kind of bang on, I guess. So if I like this, I might have to check out Mexican Gothic. Look at this little girl. Are you so cute? Oh, are you so cute? Yes, you say. You know what you say? She says, Mom, I want my dinner. Do you want supper? Okay, so that's all the update I have for now. I will get more of the audiobook, Velvet Was the Night, read today because I'm driving to my parents' house to get my winter tires put on, as well as work on a Cricut project for tote bags for my book club meeting. That's happening in like 2 weeks. I should have another update probably tonight or tomorrow for Velvet Was the Night. Hello and welcome to the end of my vlog. I have a good update. I finished Slewfoot today. I also read some of Spy X Family yesterday on my sprints, and I finished like the last half of volume 4 and started volume 5, and I got about 63% of the way through that. My final thoughts on Slewfoot, I ended up rating it 4 stars. I thought it was really fun. I think the scene that was set was really well executed. And while I was reading the book, I did think I was super into it, but I never really wanted to pick it up, right? Like I always kind of was like, okay, I'll read it, but it wasn't like begging me to be read. And I was kind of hoping for that. Plus, I was really interested in the Puritan, like 1666 time period. While I think the pacing of the book was great, just me personally, I maybe need to kind of seek out a book set in that time period to get a little bit more. And I enjoyed learning about it through kind of historical fiction. So I will kind of keep my eyes peeled for books set in kind of early America, despite the fact that I got frustrated a lot, not at the writing or anything, just at the fact that like men were so shitty back in the day, and the patriarchal? Why can't I say that word? You know what word I'm trying to say. But basically, I can't stand it. Too much of a feminist for that. So I genuinely like could feel my blood pressure rising. I could never have handled that society, or my brain in 2024 could never have handled such a society. I would have been a witch. This vlog has spanned 2 weeks basically. So in those 2 weeks, I finished Middle Game, Slewfoot, Agatha Christie's The ABC Murders, one Spy X Family, and I've also got 30% of the way through Velvet Was the Night, which I'm very much enjoying. So yeah, that's like 4.5 books or 4.33 books. I wish I like could figure out how many pages I read, but I'm pretty happy with how much reading I got done throughout this vlog. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned and what you thought about them, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye!